welcome. Welcome. My name is Joe Whitbread.
I'm Joe Phillips.
And we are Joe Social Media Inc., which seemed fitting at the time. Carl Inc. didn't work. Red Deer in Central Alberta area for the last 4 years. That may sound like maybe a little bit of time, but when you think of how old social media is, and social media for business, you can truly understand that stepping out 4 years ago to say, hey, we're 37-year-old adults who have done something for our entire lives, and we're going to do social media for business as a career move.
It is important to have content on your page. This is again an error that a lot of people are making. They think it's just about throwing something up on their page, and it's not. It has to be good content, and it has to be balanced with advertising on Facebook.
The chances of your organic content being seen is very slim, especially among your likes. We were taught to think that if we ask for likes, how many times have you heard a radio commercial? Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, right? First of all, stop using your radio time for that. Stop putting that in your radio commercials. We know you're on Facebook, we expect you are, and you better be on one or more of the social platforms. So stop using your valuable 30 seconds that you paid a lot of money for to say, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Your likes don't have the same effect that you were taught they do. Just because you have 1,000 likes on your Facebook page doesn't mean every time you post something, 1,000 people are seeing your post. Facebook quashed that a long time ago. If you think that's what's happening, you're wrong. You're getting about a 3 to 7% return on your likes. Tiny, tiny. So you do have to have good organic posts. Your content is incredibly important, and that's not sales material, by the way. It's good content, quality content. But your paid reach will improve your others.
Yeah. The other thing we hear often with Facebook is, my business isn't one that needs to be on Facebook. And again, everybody is there, which means that your buyers, whether your business is interested in retail or not, if you're an excavating company, that person who's making that decision is still on Facebook. So yes, your business should be there. It's also a great PR tool if you're not a retail business. It's a great way to spread your news. It's a great way to elevate your business. It's a great way to elevate your industry. So a couple of years ago, we actually stood up here and said, yeah, Facebook's doing all right. Facebook, it's Facebook. For your business, you need to investigate it if you're not already.
The reason we spend more time on Facebook in this talk than any others is because it is the grandfather, it's the granddaddy. If you're going to invest in anything, you can't necessarily do them all. I say necessarily because you can do them all. But you can't necessarily do them all if you're handing them off to all these people in your business and not paying them or giving them the time to do it. If you're going to do one, do Facebook.
Yeah. Using Facebook, you should be posting once or twice a day minimum. Don't go crazy on Facebook. You don't want to be there 5-8 times a day. That's too much. But you do want to be there once or twice a day, and you do want to have ads running. And running ads means you can specifically target different demographics, which means you can run 100 ads, and it's not going to affect your page content at all. So ads running and content on your page.
So we ought to move on. Let's talk about Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook. Facebook bought Instagram. Instagram is one of the fastest growing platforms among our demographic. I say our because I'm assuming you're all 40-year-old, very good looking men. Perhaps I'm wrong there. A few of you are. Instagram is a visual platform. You saw the hands go up, some people are on it. For those that don't know, and apologies to those that do, Instagram is a visual medium. Instagram is a place to go and look at pictures. They're good pictures, they're bad pictures, they're pictures that profile the lives and existences of businesses and personnel everywhere.
Yeah. So who's using Instagram? The fastest growing demographic is 30 years and older. What you'll notice with all of the platforms we're talking about is that there's this little habit we have. Our kids adopt a platform, we follow them, and then our parents have to follow us because we quit sending stuff to our parents, and the only way they're going to see anything from us as 40-year-olds is if they follow us to the platforms where we're putting it.
So my 65-year-old mother has gone to Instagram. She doesn't post anything, but she's there. She has a profile and she wants to watch. Because my kids are all on Instagram, I'm on Instagram, Joe's on Instagram. Oh my.
Yeah.
All right. Instagram is the boredom platform. All of the others have a purpose to a degree. You go to Twitter for news, you're going to Facebook to seek or to find. They certainly all have boredom apps, we understand. That's where Crackbook came from, right? It was this addiction, and we went there, we didn't even know why we were there. Instagram, however, is solely for boredom. So we're speaking to a business crowd. If you're putting your business on Instagram, you have to understand that you are putting your business in a place where people are bored. Or they're cheating their boss's time, maybe some of you in this room. They're on it when they shouldn't be sometimes. They're on it when they're bored. They're on it when they're lonely. They're on it without purpose. We don't go to Instagram to see how the floodwaters are rising when Calgary had its floods. We don't go to Instagram to check on ISIS and the latest bombing in a famous city. We don't go to Instagram for those things. A, because it's visual and we don't want to necessarily see that, nor do people post devastation. They do post devastation, but they do it on news-related feeds. So this is a boredom app, and that's important to understand. You have them, but you only have them for a flick of a finger, right?
Yeah. Did anyone notice who's using Instagram the option to flip to a business profile that came out about a month ago?
Yeah.
So Instagram is now offering the chance to switch to a business profile, and we just told you that Facebook owns Instagram, and so what that tells you that's coming next is anything that happened on Facebook to us as business people, meaning we built these pages, now we have to pay to have them seen. We can't just organically gather followers quite as easily as we did 6 or 7 years ago. All of those things are going to happen to Instagram. So if you are using Instagram right now in the next probably yeah? Okay, if you are using Instagram right now in the next six months to a year, go hard, build it as fast and as hard as you can while it's free, because Facebook is going to apply all of those things that they applied on their platform. It's a $1 billion platform. They're going to apply all of those things to Instagram. It will happen. So right now while it's free, go to town.
Is it only available to some of us though? Because I've looked into it numerous times and that little option is not.
Have you looked in your settings?
Yeah, it's not there.
Hasn't appeared yet?
I Googled it and it said it may not be available to everybody. So I
Yeah,
didn't know if
thanks, Sheena. They have rolled it out.
Yeah,
I know that a few of the businesses we work with got it earlier than others. I thought by now it had been fully rolled out. So if you don't have it yet, I wouldn't panic. I think it's coming.
Yeah.
I think it just means you're the greatest in your field,
Oh, I hope so.
and
Yeah.
that they want to go to you last.
Yeah.
That's probably.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
that's the
total-
most reasonable explanation, really.
We can teach
Yeah.
sales 101 as well.
Yeah.
The other thing that Instagram has done, obviously, is it cut the head off the Snapchat giant. We'll get into Snapchat in a moment, but about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, maybe you heard about it, maybe you didn't, Instagram introduced something called Stories. We won't get into what stories are, but in essence, they introduced Snapchat. Instagram, or Facebook, who owns Instagram, decided that Snapchat was a juggernaut. They offered to buy them. I don't know the full story, but if you look on Wikipedia, you'll find that Facebook offered to buy Snapchat about 3 years ago for a lot of zeros, and they said no. And so Facebook said, okay. And so Facebook is currently trying through Instagram to bury Snapchat, and to a degree, they're succeeding.
Yeah, what was happening was that people were skipping. So people are moving away from Twitter. People are moving away from Facebook. They're looking for second platforms because we're really used to using one and we're bored, so let's add another platform. I bet most people in here have at least 4 apps on their phone that are social platforms. So what was happening was that people were moving from Twitter and Facebook to Snapchat. They were skipping Instagram. And because we're following our kids, and Snapchat had all these shiny things that the other platforms didn't have. And so our age group, meaning 30 plus, was moving very quickly to Snapchat. So Facebook decided, well, we've got all of these users on Instagram, let's add Snapchat features to Instagram, and it immediately stemmed the flow of the 30-year-olds to Snapchat. It was a brilliant move. Because it gave us a platform that we're used to using, that we're familiar with, that's very similar to the other platforms. Snapchat's not. And so in our age group, it meant that we didn't actually have to learn anything new, but we could use these fun features that Snapchat has.
Like dog ears.
Has anyone seen dog ears? The tongue?
Of
Yeah.
course you have.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Stop doing it.
We're doing our civic duty, and we go into the schools and beg them to stop.
Like seriously,
Yeah.
that's it's completely anyway. So those are the fun features. We can do a side-by-side puppy dog later if you'd
Maybe
like.
face
Not
swap.
now.
Yeah.
So Instagram Stories is doing what they endeavored to do through Facebook. You can tell by, I think, some of what we're saying, and it's of course our opinion, Facebook is trying to dominate social platforms, all of them. And so everything you like about the social platform you're on, Facebook is likely to take it over.
Yeah.
Periscope, if you were familiar with Periscope, Periscope was owned by Twitter. Periscope was a live feed I could turn on and broadcast like a camera. Periscope has been killed by Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So they're doing it everywhere. We have to move on. Sorry.
Instagram offers stories which allow you to actually put some depth to your brand, because Instagram is traditionally just photos and video. A story allows a little bit further depth of brand because it's more documenting and it's more an urgent and instant kind of video rather than a planned video. So and we encourage you, if you're using stories, to not use them every day, because if you're showing them every day, then you actually will overload your users and they'll stop watching them.
Same as Snapchat. If you're snapping all the time and everything you do, you are overloading and you'll get less views. If you appear, it's very strategic. If you appear on your stories or your Snapchat once, 3 times a week, you will achieve more views. It just makes sense. We get bored very quickly. It happens at 1.1 seconds now, by the way. To put that in perspective, when the Titanic sunk, it took 27 hours for news to reach New York City. News happened in 27 hours in 1950. Ken, when did the Titanic sink? 19. Love you.
How's that bus feel there, Ken?
So yeah, news is happening extremely fast, which brings us nicely to Twitter. Twitter is an absolute marathon. You cannot join Twitter today if you're a realtor and have a sold-out open house on Saturday. You cannot join Twitter today and or last Friday and tell people to come to your Success for Business booth this week.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that fast. You have to build a reputation and a brand over a very, very long time, which is fantastic for businesses who have been there for a very long time.
Yeah. So who's using Twitter? This is a very specific group. It's 30 to 50-year-olds, and it's a split between men and women. They tend to be decision makers. They tend to be a little bit more intelligent because it's a closed or very not intelligent, one or the other. Because it is a very closed medium, you have to be very terse in what you're putting out. It's a very committed audience, extremely loyal once you get their loyalty. It takes a long time to get their loyalty though. In Red Deer, the Twitter community is fiercely loyal, and they will choose to shop from Twitter businesses before they will choose anyone else. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true.
How many of you tried Twitter for your business and quit? So that is very often the case, and it's likely because of, and I don't mean to throw you under the bus, although I'm doing that a lot today, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. A lot of people will join Twitter hoping it works right now, in the next month, in the next week. Heck, even this year. It likely can't. You join a platform and you have to build an audience. To build an audience, you have to be seen. Chicken, egg. How can you possibly be seen if you haven't built an audience, right? And so you have to do diligent strategy on how to build an audience, to be seen with good content, and you have to do it every day. And you have to do it 8 to 10 times a day. You can write that down. This is why businesses have a hard time keeping the consistency on Twitter. You have to be there 8 to 10 times a day. And here's the simple reason why. You roll out of bed in the morning and you check your social media. You get the kids off to school and you go to work and you check your social media. It's middle of the mid-morning, you check your social media. You shouldn't, but you do. It's lunchtime, you go for lunch, you check your social media before you drive to the restaurant, and you check your social media at the restaurant, you check your social media after, and then you get back to work and you check your social media. In the afternoon, coffee time, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., or only at 3 and 4 p.m., you're checking your social media. Then during the drive time, 5 to 6 p.m., before the hectic homework or getting kids off to soccer or hockey practice starts, you're checking your social media. And then it's wine o'clock, everyone. Love wine o'clock. Wine o'clock, social media blows up, obviously, because it's social time for anyone who didn't check their social media through the day. So you've been there all day long through all of the day parts as your business, using different content, not selling. And that's why you need to be there so often, because Twitter is happening so fast.
Yeah, the opposite of that is that Twitter happens very fast, which means there's a lot of content going on it. And if somebody is only checking their Twitter once a week, once a month, and you're only tweeting 3 times a week, then again, you're not going to hit those people either. So the bulk of content required for Twitter, and we're not talking about selling, and for the love of goodness gracious, please stop sending your Facebook posts to Twitter and stop sending your Instagram posts to Twitter.
Yes.
That's not building your audience. It's not building loyalty. What it is ticking a lot of people off, and it's not actually doing what you're hoping it's going to do.
Imagine I phoned somewhere and I accidentally phoned a fax machine. We all have heard that sound? That's what you're doing when you're sending your Facebook posts to Twitter or your Instagrams to Facebook. You're sending stuff that doesn't compute, that doesn't speak the language, that doesn't even matter in the timeline that you're sending it to. Stop doing it. Seriously, stop doing it. You're really tarnishing and damaging your brand. Plus, if I respond to the tweet that you sent from Facebook, you're not on Twitter. So if you were trying to get a sale from me, you missed it. And you ignored me. So you missed it, you ignored me, and you hit me in the head. I'm going to your competitor immediately.
Yeah. So with Twitter, it's either be there or don't. If you have an account sitting there that you're not using, get rid of it. Because by having an account there, it's like having your customer service sign up saying, hey, we're here to have we're here to provide customer service, we're here because we want to be here. But when people walk up to you, they can't get any service. So either use it or don't.
You have to move on.
Oh, okay. Either use it or don't. Twitter is a commitment. And
Absolutely.
if you commit to it, then you will see results, but it takes 6 months to a year to start seeing results.
No doubt a ton of questions on all of this, so please engage us after. Let's talk LinkedIn. LinkedIn, love LinkedIn. Absolutely, personally, my favorite social platform because it's about business. What we do is social media for business. What LinkedIn is business. You are allowed to be there and talk about your business. And in this room, we are business people. We aren't customers until you realize business people are customers. For some reason, we forget that the same people, for example, a show like the Expo here, a lot of the great connections you'll make in this show are from exhibitor to exhibitor because we're all in it for business, but we're customers too.
Yeah.
And so LinkedIn offers you an opportunity to speak with fellow business people who are, in essence, in business and sharing their wares.
Yeah.
But you have to use it.
So who's using LinkedIn? The answer is it's 65% men, 35% female, which you'll see reflected in the workplace likely. You'll see that a lot of guys, if they're not using any other social platform, they are using this one. And you'll also find that you can avoid gatekeepers on LinkedIn. So you can actually go directly to the CEO if that's the person you need to talk to. So LinkedIn isn't about hiring.
No.
It's misconception.
Huge misconception.
I only need to use LinkedIn if I'm looking for a job or looking to hire. LinkedIn is a place to share your experience. It's a place to help us build each other as business people, provide mentorship, and tell people what you do. Because you can tell me all day that you're in IT, but I don't know what that means. So you're going to have to break that down into a lot of small steps, and that gives you a whole lot of content as well.
Even if you take something as simple as, and certainly with respect to realtors in the room, a realtor. We all know what a realtor does, right? We all know what a realtor does. Realtor's been around forever. We know what a realtor does. Do you really know what a realtor does? Do you know that a realtor has to order sold signs, put up signs? They have a sledgehammer usually in their vehicle so that they, right? You're nodding. There's some realtors in the room. And when it freezes in the ground, how do you enjoy that? This is the stuff that we don't ever share about realtors. What do we share about realtors? Sold. I can sell your house. Sold, sold, sold. I get it done. I'm the guy that can sell your house. That's all we know about realtors because that's all they're sharing about realtors. So your content has to be extremely telling of what you do. We have a city councilor in the room. I won't point him out. I don't know what the city councilor does. This city councilor, though, shows us inside his world. He shows us inside his life. He's allowed us to look in, which is incredibly giving. But he allows us to look into his life. He's allowed us to look into his family and the things that we want when we want to vote for someone. I hope he seeks re-election too. Big fan.
All right.
So LinkedIn is the place to share and the place to really expose yourself. You expose only what you want to expose. You still choose what you want to expose, but start telling us about who you are and what you do, and I might be interested in buying it.
All right, Snapchat.
There it is.
Who's using Snapchat? All of our kids. You may not think your kid is using Snapchat. Your kid is using Snapchat. We go into the schools again, we take a poll, who's using Snapchat? 85–90% of the kids' hands go up. We say, whose parents know you're using Snapchat? And about 40% of the hands stay up. Snapchat is being used by kids. It's being banned by parents, but that's because parents don't understand it. The reason kids are using Snapchat is because it's a private social media, which makes no sense to us, but there's no likes, there's no public comments. Any comment that happens is a private comment. So that means that there's still the bad stuff that goes on, you still get attacked and all of that stuff, but everyone doesn't see it. And that's important to kids, and that's why they've adapted Snapchat. It's their primary source of communication. They don't text each other anymore, they snap each other. If you want to get a hold of your kid, don't text them, snap them. They will answer your snap within seconds. You can also see their emotional state when you're snapping with your kids or when you're snapping with business as a customer service tool. You can actually see the emotional state of the person who is trying to talk to you, which is a lot more useful than this, trying to read words, trying to read emojis. So Snapchat is a really useful tool for business, and it's only growing, and the tools that Snapchat is going to provide to us as business people are only going to roll out. They're starting to roll them out now. They're not really hefty yet, but we will see some really great tools for us in the next year. Right now, your best bet is to be putting up a poster in your office or anything along those lines that says, hey, snap to your crowd. Let your group, let your team know about us. Put us on your Snapchat. Tell them to do it. Rather than trying to build your own Snapchat audience, because it's a little bit different to build a Snapchat audience. Instead, use the people around you and use their audiences.
I thought I had yellow. The other thing
He's
that
the only guy I know who plugs his shoes in at bedtime. We don't plug our phones in.
I sincerely apologize, I don't have yellow.
Yeah.
The geographical location is also to the kids factor, by the way. If you have teens, if you have preteens or teens, this really is a great way to start communicating with your kids again. The geographical location can't be cheated anymore. Oh, I'm at Sandra's house. Really? Because the Snapchat says you're at the football game. So really, they don't need to know that we're smarter than them. They don't think we are, but we are. The other great thing that kids are doing right now, and we're following suit, and we're certainly following, is they're learning how face-to-face relationships work. Kids have a real bad rap when it comes to faces in their phones, and you'll never socialize because you're always chasing Pokemon, and you're never out there, and all of these things. It's a real bad rap. First of all, it's us. Our faces are in our phones, our faces are in our iPads, and our faces are in our laptops at home as well. So stop doing that. The kids are getting a bad rap on their face-to-face relationships. They're actually generating, it's been proven, I don't have the scientific study here, it's been proven that kids are being able to identify more actively on emotional response because they're seeing more faces than we've ever seen. We've seen millions of faces, they've seen trillions of faces. And they can actively, you're smiling, you're grinning, you're like, yeah, these guys are preaching. The youngest girl in the crowd's like, yeah, do this, stick up for us, power to the kids.
Yeah.
I was a kid once, long time ago, and there's a lot of misconceptions, especially now.
Yeah.
They're teaching us, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's also where influencer marketing comes in. How many, do you mind if I ask how many Instagram followers you have?
Very few. I'm mostly grading with my daughter.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. Instagram and Twitter and not so much Facebook, Snapchat for sure, has the opportunity to build large audiences very fast because we don't necessarily do, we topically add them. We don't do a whole lot of recognizance on these people. So we add them and 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 add them, and we have lots of audiences. So what's happening is the youth, our younger kids and into their 20s, are getting huge, enormous real audiences. And so what's happening now is brands, large brands, are using these audiences as influencers. Back in the day, we used to, watch Michael Jordan drink a Coca-Cola, and we'd run out and buy a Coca-Cola. They'd purchase that endorsement contract. Now what brands are doing is they're purchasing regular people, your kids, because we as marketers can't get into a 14-year-old's timeline. We want in, but we can't get in. And certainly, understandably, why we can't get in. We can't infiltrate it. So instead, we're using influencer marketing. We're hiring kids to use their social channels normally, but use it with exposition to our brand. And it's really happening. If you have kids that are looking for jobs right now, yes, we all want them to be doctors, lawyers, and teachers, and counselors. But think about influencer marketing. If your kids have popularity, and this is not about exposing them to the evils, this is about the opportunities that exist online.
Yeah. So those are the big 5. We're out of time, unfortunately. We will be here for questions for a couple minutes after, so please do approach us if you have questions. We're offering a LinkedIn special today. We don't do this very often. We do a lot of private training. We don't do a lot of public training. So we're offering a public LinkedIn training on October 24th. You can sign up at our booth. It's for $150. It's normally $450. So if you are interested in training on LinkedIn, then go to our booth and Dar will sign you up for that, Darlene. We won't be back to our booth till 12:30. So if you are interested in chatting with us personally, we'll have to chat this afternoon. And we really appreciate you guys being patient with us.
We're off to RDC to speak to the Backpacks to Briefcases event to kids and first year, second year marketing students over there. So we have to go do that. So we're not here to catch up with you immediately, but we'd love to talk with each and every one of you about your business and that sort of thing. We're not even here to sell.
Yeah.
We honestly just want to find out what you're doing, how we can help, and if you have any questions, by all means, bring them on to Dar or wait for us to get back.
Yeah, so I'm Joe.
I am Joe.
And we appreciate you guys staying with us today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.